came up in this company in like 15 months. He's ambassador. So without any further ado, the man himself, Bobby Q, Bob Quintana. Thank
you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm here to talk about step 2. Now, we're talking about the duplicate system. Have you guys seen the kit? How many of you got your kit? Let me see show of hands. Fantastic. How many do you not yet have your kit? Let me see show of hands. Don't yet have your kit? Okay, guys, you got to get your kit. This was developed after literally over a year. By the way, those of you that got one of these, or more than one of these, are they amazing or what? Yeah. Okay? As a testimony to those who haven't gotten theirs yet, scale of 1 to 10, is it a 10 plus, yes or no? Yeah. Okay, so there you go. I mean, just look at the look and feel of it, guys. I mean, it's amazing. It's packed with tools. We're going to be going through those tools tonight, and it is a culmination of over a year of development. See, what happened, folks, is that initially, when Veridian launched here in New Jersey, they were in the network marketing model had been launched for about 6 months. And I won't go into a long story other than to say that there really wasn't a system. You know, Rob McFadden and the small corporate team, I believe there was 7. Wasn't there about 7, Joe, Frank, about 7 employees in the corporation when we first started? So I mean, that includes Michael Falquist, Rob McFadden, and their support team. Right? So they really hadn't had the time yet to develop a system. And long story short is when leaders, a bunch of leaders like Frank and Joe and John Lowe and you know, Pat and Bob Gatos and you know and Glenn Crawford and the Candy brothers down in Maryland, they came in, there was no system. What happened was everybody kind of started developing their own system and started teaching their groups and their teams their own system. And obviously they worked. You see all these guys moving through the ranks, senior ranks, doing extremely well. The problem that created was that everybody was doing it similar, but a little bit different. So that if you had your team here in New Jersey and you've identified some folks that, you know, somebody brought into the business in Maryland, you wanted to send them to Brendan and Ed Kenny's meeting, but you hesitated a little bit because you knew that what they were teaching was a little bit different than what you were teaching, and vice versa. Everybody follow what we're saying? In this business, it's all about duplication, right? That's why they call the system duplicate, and there's 8 steps. So this is the first time in the history of the company. This company is the #1 fastest growing third-party energy supplier in America, and we haven't had a system, guys. A unified system. You get what I'm saying? How many of you were excited about Veridian before? Okay, that was without a system. Okay, so where do you think we're going now? I'll tell you, to the moon. So, and I'm not Ralph Cramden. Okay, so. That's that. This is the booklet that you get in the system, right? Did anybody bring their kit, bring their booklet with them? All right, we'll pull it out now because we're going to use it. If you didn't, then from now on, guys, you're going to want to start traveling with this. All right, you're going to want to start traveling with it for a couple reasons. One, you want to know it inside and out. You want to commit these 8 steps to memory and to application and to execution so well, like you know your own name, like you know your way home, where you can do it without even thinking about it. How does that happen? It happens through repetition. Right? So today's the first time, or the second time after this weekend, counting this weekend, it's the first time after the rollout this weekend that we're introducing this. So, this part, for those of you that are following along, this part begins, step 2 begins on page 6. All right? So I'm going to put this down. We're talking about a goal, set goals and make commitments. So I think everybody knows that in order to achieve what you want in your life, you got to know what you want in your life, right? In order to achieve what you want in your Veridian business, you got to know what you want in your Veridian business. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. After your why, setting goals and making commitments, I believe is the second most important step, and that's why we make it step 2 of the system. This is very well thought out. A goal really is a dream with a deadline. So what we're going to do is I'm going to encourage everybody, and we encourage everybody to think big. Right? Like right now, my goal, I was blessed, it was amazing, hit the ambassador rank. My wife and I, we hit the ambassador rank on my 50th birthday, $50,000 bonus, 50,000 customers. It was my great friend and business partner, Glenn Crawford, that pointed out the 50-50-50. I was like, well, I hadn't even thought of that. But, people asked me, so what's next? And, we've got Platinum Ambassador and then Diamond Ambassador. And actually, folks, right now, my heart, my gut is saying that we are about to go into so much momentum as a company that my goal is not Platinum Ambassador, it's not even Diamond Ambassador. My goal is 250,000 customers in our group. My goal, and I was talking to Glenn about this yesterday. Thanks, Jonathan. My goal is to take 10 people in my group, in our organization, to ambassador in the next 12 months. So right now, I'm identifying who those people are. I've identified 2 already, and we're just starting to talk to the key leaders and who wants to go ambassador. Thinking big. They haven't created a rank yet for 250,000 customers. But you know what? I know they will, and that's what I'm focused on. So the question is, what's big for you? To me, that's big. That's increasing my business 5-fold in the next 12 months. So, or less. So the question is, what's big for you, right? And then set a goal. Set it, dream with a deadline, right? Really going to encourage that. Yale study in 1953. How many have heard of the Yale study in 1953? Okay, quite a few of you. A lot of you haven't. Here's what happened. 1953, graduating class at Yale University. They did a survey to see what percentage of the graduating class had written goals and a plan for their attainment at graduation. Those of you that have heard the survey, what was the percentage?
3%.
It was 3%. 3% had written goals and a plan for their attainment at graduation. They tracked it over a 20-year period to see what the impact was. And here's what they found. They found that 3% who had written goals and a plan for their attainment were happier and just overall more satisfied, more fulfilled in their life. How many think that's pretty significant? Yeah, people go, well, that's really significant. Some of the real, detail-oriented people are going, well, that's nice, but who's to say who's happy and who's not? All right, let me give you a very quantitative outcome of that study. They also looked at the net worth of the 3% who had written goals and a plan for their attainment and compared it to the other 97%. They found the 3% who had written goals and a plan for their attainment at graduation 20 years later had a greater net worth than the other 97% combined. I'll say that again. The 3% who had written goals and a plan for their attainment 20 years later had a greater net worth than the other 97% combined. How many think that's pretty significant? How many of you are at least a little bit more motivated to do some goal setting? And if you're not, then you missed the story. I'll tell you again later, a little slower, all right? Okay, you get the point, I hope. And so we want to, of course, you want to tie your goals into what Bob was just talking about with your why. Right? Because a goal that is tied emotionally to your why, when it's not a should, when it gets tied to your why, whatever your dominant emotional reason for doing Viridian is, you'll be unstoppable. And people like Sandy Sarami, who've been teaching this for a long time, know this as well as I do, right, Sandy? No doubt about it. So, hallelujah. All right? So that's what we're talking about. That's the power of this. Now, how many of you have heard about SMART goals? Setting SMART goals. Anybody? Anybody jotting any of this down would be a good idea, right? And if you've heard it already, good. You're going to hear it again. And again, remember, mastery comes through spaced repetition over time. Conditioning, reinforcement, right? So what's a SMART goal? It's an acronym. S, specific. Very specific. What do you want? Not I want to make money. How much money by when? Okay? M, measurable. If you can't track it, how do you know if you're getting closer to or further away, or if you're getting there at the rate that you're committed to getting there? A, attainable. Now, I say attainable, I say think big, but if you think so big, and you say, okay, I'm in the business yesterday. What's your goal? I want to be ambassador tomorrow. I say, okay, I like the way you're thinking. You're thinking big. That's good. But here's the thing. It takes about 5 days for customers to qualify. So you can't do it tomorrow. You can't be ambassador tomorrow. It's going to take you at least a week. All right, so adjust your goal a little bit, right? So you get what I'm saying, though. If you set a goal that's so big that you don't believe it's attainable, then is it really going to inspire you and motivate you, yes or no? No. If you set a goal that's so big that you don't think you can get it, do you think it'll inspire you, yes or no? No, it will not. So make it attainable enough so that it inspires you, but big enough so that it scares you. All right? What's the R, right? People say realistic. I say forget realistic. Extraordinary results in life are not achieved by being what I consider to be realistic. I say results focused, results that you can control. See, folks, we're going to talk about in a moment that there's 2 kinds of goals that you want to set. Productivity goals, end result goals, but also activity goals, because you have control over those. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? So results focused, and the T is time sensitive.